Hello there, welcome to Alvarez's Diecast Customs. Today we're going to be working on this Zuru metal machines. I picked this up at the local pound shop. Quite an interesting little car, I thought. Figured I'd go with something a bit different on it though. Thinking more of a Gaslands build for it. This proved to be quite a headache later on in the build, so let's just take a closer look at him before we get on with it. There it is, brand new out of the package. This particular car's called Poison Ivy. Don't think it's any relation to the Batman character. Just get this torn open. Yeah, quite nice. Seems to have a plastic body. Quite wobbly wheels on there. And the base appears to be the only metal piece of it. Considering they're called metal machines, the only metal part is actually the base. It's quite nice overall though. Orange windshield, I don't think I'll be keeping that with it though. Let's get on to taking this thing apart. So I'm just going to be using this 5mm drill bit just to remove the head of the posts off. Because they're plastic, I don't want to drill too far into them. Just literally take the top of them off and then I can pull the base off. It drills in very easily being plastic. Just let the tool do its work, you don't want to force it. The interior on this is quite a tight fit on it though. Very low tolerance to fitment it seems for this thing. Yep, all chromed up. And there's that window piece. Quite like the slatted effect on the rear there, so I may go about keeping that. And there's our body, all plastic. It'd be quite interesting to work with, I think, being plastic. So we need to do something about those wheels first. So we've gone to see our goddess, Sega Saturn, and see what she's got for us. I'm just going to give her these ones, we won't be using those. Oh, what's that? Nice. Let's take a closer look at these. Some Hot Wheels Real Riders. Quite an interesting look to them. Cool. Thanks for that. So with all the parts separated up, we can start looking at what we're going to do with it. Yay, chrome interior. That'll be painted quickly. There's our window piece. As I said, I'm going to go about keeping that rear piece. I'll probably just cut it from the back there. There's our base. Quite a solid piece of metal, that one. Quite nicely detailed as well. And there's those wheels originally. They're quite nice. Won't be keeping them with this one though. I didn't feel it went with the build style that I was after. I'll just pop them in the parts box and use them maybe in another build. And there's those other ones we've picked up. Just give them a test fit. And see where we're going with it. Yeah, I'm quite liking that. They look quite smart on there. We need to figure out what to do with it now. I've got these 3D printed parts off eBay. Comes with a bunch of sort of turrets and rocket launchers and guns on it. And look at sticking these onto it. Being 3D printed, they're quite roughly sort of cast. But that all adds to the detail really, the roughness. So first off, we're going to go about sticking some bits and pieces onto this. I've got this little bit of plastic mesh. Thought I'd stick that over the window like this. Just glue that on with some gel super glue, applying it with a little toothpick for precision. There we go, that's that attached. I'm also going to stick on a rear spoiler as well. So I just got a piece of off-cut plastic card. I'm going to just rough up the area I'm gluing it to let it stick a bit better. There we go, that's what I'm going for with that. Also got this sort of tin foil, which I'm going to be using to make sort of a window cover on it, because I'm going to be sticking some weapons on the top of it. Just sizing it up, cut it to shape. Going to roughly sand this again. Dab of super glue. We can stick that on. I'm going about sticking some of those 3D printed parts onto it. I've got the rocket turret that I'm going to stick directly onto the roof. I'm going to go ahead and just stick a bunch of these things on it in a moment. So I'll see where we're going with it already. There we go, after some more time with some extra sticking things onto it. It's going out quite nicely. You can see I also stuck some mesh over the side windows as well. Some extra bits of tin foil. Other scrap pieces. I also attacked the body with one of my files to give it some gouges down the sides of it and over the bonnet, just to give it a bit more texture. What I'm also going to be doing is using some Vallejo putty and just filling in some of the seams that I don't want, mostly around the rear spoiler where I stuck that rocket turret onto it. Just go about filling those in. I also just dab the putty over the body as well in some areas, just to give a bit of added texture to it. There you go. After a bit more application of that stuff, it's come together quite nicely. Just let that dry for a while, and we can go about painting it. So I just went over it with a standard flat black from a spray can. Use this as my base color for all the weathering I'm going to be doing. Did the interior along with that too. Also on the front there, as you can see, I drilled 2 holes into the grille and stuck some aluminium tubing into it to make it look like some turrets coming out the front. There's our base piece. Gave that a hit of the matte black. We're going to go about detailing some extra areas on here. I'll just be painting in the guns and other sections on the body in some Tamiya metallic grey. So after applying all that to it, also go about doing some of the interior pieces. I had the engine stuck on it there, just paint that in. Also the side exhaust. Also do some of the base pieces as well. Pick out some extra details on that. Now with these wheels, they've got that pink line around it, so all I'm going to do is just use a black Sharpie and go over those. I don't think the pink line really suits a Gaslands build. There we go, that's nicely covered up. I go around all 4 wheels doing that to them. Now on the body, I'm just going to dry brush some Revell silver over it. This just picked some extra details out of it. I'll just go around the whole body with this. And in the interior, on the chassis as well. Picks out all the raised areas. And also because I use the Vallejo putty as well, it gives some added texture to some areas of it too. Looks all battle worn and corroded. Hit the interior as well with it. And the chassis. Now I'm also going to be using some rust wash on here. And this is where it all went wrong, to be honest. This rust wash, it's an oil-based sort of liquid. And the plastic reacted with it in some areas, which you'll see in a moment. So I'm willfully just going around smothering the thing in it, unknown to the horrors that happen later on. But yeah, this rust wash gives it a nice sort of effect as well on top of the metallic and black. Also did some extra coats of it on the body. As you can see, the rust wash actually melted the rear quarter panel on the car. I put a cut in it because I wasn't decided what I wanted to do with it. As you can see, that quarter panel's kind of shrunk and squished in. I about threw it in the bin. I didn't want to give up on it, so I thought, well, what can I do with this? So as you can see, it's shrunk quite a bit on that quarter panel there. I cut it with a side cutter, figure out what I'm going to do with it. I think I'm going to go about filling that gap in with some of that Vallejo putty again. Hopefully we can rescue it. And let that dry. I painted that black. We're just going to go about doing the same weathering process on that repaired area. You can see it's all twisted up in that section. Might give it a good effect in the end of it, hopefully. Looked like the thing's had a big nasty crash or a smash in that section. I've gone over it again with the rust wash. Not sure why it reacted like that with it, to be honest. It's never done that before, but I suppose being on a plastic body caused some issues with it. So I'm going to be using this Citadel Typhus Erosion. I saw Outlaw Speed Shop using this on some of his Gaslands builds. It's basically just a brown textured paint, but I like the effect of it, so I'm going to go about plodding this all over the body in some sections. There we go, that's after application and drying. It's quite an effective look that does. Quite like it. I've also got this Citadel Dreiser Rust as well, which is a dry brush paint, so we're just lightly brushing this on in some of the areas. Mostly over the Typhus corrosion parts, because it really brings it out. Looks like a really rusted, worn out metal. Finally, I'm just going to go over with some Agrax Earthshade from Citadel as well. This is literally just a brown wash, but it's perfect for bringing out lots of extra details in your castings and other things like that. It just really highlights everything. Brilliant colour, so versatile. You can see I literally just smother the whole thing in it. There we go, we'll sit that down and let that dry out. Then we can get on with building this thing back together. I also hit the wheels as well with the Agrax Earthshade. Give them a bit of a more of a worn out look to them. There's our base that had the Agrax Earthshade treatment too. I'm going to be using these 5mm self-tapping screws, but because the posts were so thick, the screws don't actually hold the chassis on, so I'm going to be using some little washers to help with that. Because of the issue I had with the body, the interior is now completely part of that now, to keep the shape of it, to prevent it from twisting itself anymore. Just get those all screwed in. There we go. And before I reveal it, let's take a look at what we started with. As it was quite a cool looking little car. Never heard of these brand before, Zuru metal machines. Only seen them at the local pound shop. There's quite a handful of them. This one seemed to stick out to me. The rest of them were a bit weird looking. Anyway, here's what we ended up with. Quite happy with how this turned out despite the issues I had. Quite like how the issue there I had and the repair I've tried to do with it's given it some more sort of character. It looks like it's had a big smash on that corner and the owners tried to fix it up. So here we go, let's take a closer look at it. Rolls quite nicely on those wheels, they are literally a straight fit. No cutting involved on the axles there. I also went over some small areas on the body in some clear gloss, lightly brushed on just to give it sort of more textured, shiny finish to it. You can just about see the interior there, which I neglected to show earlier on. I just painted the seats in brown, like a leather effect, and then did a wash over them. You can't see a lot of detail through there, but what you can see, I tried to make most of it. There we go. Quite happy with this one, how it turned out. Let me know down in the comments what you think of it. Here's some extra photos I took of it. Definitely like doing these Gaslands build. Now that I've bought a bunch of turrets and guns and things, gives me a bit more option going ahead with some of the builds I do with them. I'm also going to look at sourcing some extra pieces and whatnot for them, see what I can do. I'd like to make a sort of fleet of these at one point. As I said, like Outlaw Speed Shop and Danny's Diecast Disasters are certainly one of my most influential people for these. So let's go return to our goddess Sega Saturn and see what she's got for us next time. What's that? Nice. Let's take a look at this. Interesting looking thing. What is it? Looks like a Hot Wheels X-Tracer. Transparent plastic body. Very odd. Wonder what we could do with that. Yeah, I'm liking it. Thanks for that. So here's that car with my old previous Mustang Gaslands build. Quite a good pair at the moment. Definitely like to add more to them though. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.